Hello and welcome to StampingCatCrew.com. Today we're going to make this super cute Party Panda birthday card. It is a step card, so when it lays flat it's going to look just like this. And I always tell you, don't forget to make your envelopes pretty. The stamp set is actually in the Sale A Bration for 2018. It's called Party Pandas, and it has the 3 super cute panda bears and some sentiments and some little confetti. So we did a little bit of fussy cutting on this. So those are pretty easy to do. We did that on these 2 bears. And I'm going to show you how to do the step card. The tutorial and everything will be on my blog, so it'll be real easy. I actually prefer to just use the paper trimmer when I do something like this. So I've already pre-done my folds and scores, but I'm going to show you actually what I do. So you start with a 5.5 by 7.5 piece of cardstock, whatever color you're going to use for your base. Up here is your ruler guide, and then also from 1 inch to 12 inch on here is a ruler guide. So the way I do it is you're going to score at 1 inch right here, and I always keep both blades on my Stampin' Trimmer. So I'm going to set it at the 1 inch and go up to do that score line. Then I'm going to move an inch in, and I'm going to do another 1 inch score line. So from the 1 inch up. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to set it at 4 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to do the score line again right here. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So I'm going to set it at 1 inch. I'm going to do the score line in. I'm going to put this score line on that 1 inch mark, and I'm going to set this little point right at the 1 inch and do the score line. And then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to set this end at the 4 3/4 inch, set the little point on the 1 inch, and do the score line. For this cut from here to here, it goes from the 1 inch to the 4 3/4. I'm going to set the end of my card right on the 1 inch line here, and I'm going to go from 1 inch, the little point, and I'm going to use the blade this time. I'm going to go from the 1 inch to 4 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to make that cut right there from this score line to this score line, and you're only cutting that. I'm going to flip the card over. I'm going to set it on the 1 inch right here along that line. I'm going to take my cutting blade, and I'm again going to go from 1 inch to 4 3/4 of an inch, which is from your score line to your score line. The other one is 3 3/4 of an inch. So if you line your paper up right here at 3 3/4 of an inch, and you go from score line at the 1 inch to the next score line right here, which is 4.5. So you're basically going from the 1 inch to the 4.5 inch. And don't forget to use your scoring blade, not your cutting blade. And that leaves that score line right there. So once you have your folds done, assembling the card is easy. You're going to fold along the score lines, and it makes sense with what you're going to be going for. So just like this. And then what I do, because nothing is perfect, I'm going to line up the bottom edges right there, and then I'm going to take the bone folder from Stampin'Up. And I always tell you, it gives you nice crisp lines. So when stuff isn't exactly the way you want it, it's going to help you remedy a lot of that as well. So that's the folds that you do right here. And that is what you're going to end up with. So I've pre-done a lot of the stuff for the panda card, so you didn't have to sit through that. So the first part we're going to add is the Designer Series paper little panels that we had. For the bottom front, I did a 3/4 inch by 5 1/4 inch. We're going to put some snail adhesive right across that, And then it really is centered right on there. So that'll be just fine. And then I have two more that are 3/4 of an inch by 2.5 inches, and those fit on the inside. These are actually from the designer series paper that's in Sale A Bration, and it goes with one of the stamp and die cut sets. So can't wait for you guys to see it. It's super cute. It's the bubble up, so it's got little soda bottles and stuff, which makes the paper lots of fun. But that is the designer series paper I chose to use with this set. I wanted to bring some bright pops of color with our little black and white panda bears. So right there, I did some of the Bermuda Bay ribbon that we're going to put right around the front, on the bottom front of the card. I'm going to show you. I'm going to add some adhesive. You might want to use sticky strip too, something that's real strong when you do ribbon. Right now I'm just using snail. But I'm going to fold that right around to the back right there. So then we have our panda bear here, and I want you to remember that we're going to set it about here, so the very top of the card is actually not going to be attached back here. You'll see it's a little higher. So as long as that fits in the 5.5 by 4.25 A2 size envelope, you're totally fine. And that also means you don't want to put adhesive all the way up to the top. So when I flip this over, I'm going to end up about here, and I'm going to put adhesive around all 4 sides up to just about here, leaving that space blank at the top. And we really just want to center our little panda bear right about there, having that space at the top. And I've done the happy birthday sentiment right here, and I like to do some folding right like that. And I'm going to take one of our dimensionals that we have. I'm going to put it right on the back of this, and I'm also going to take one of our glue dots. And I'm going to put that right on the back. Take some of that paper off. And that's going to set just about there. And I've got a couple of rhinestones, and I always tell you that I actually like to use my scissors to take those off. I find it works a lot easier, just the tips, but a little bit of bling is good. And then I've pre-done a little knot. I cut 3 inches of that Bermuda Bay ribbon, and I'm going to just attach a glue dot right here, and I'm going to put that right about here. And then you want to remember to make your ends pretty on your ribbon. So just like that. And right there. So that's what we got so far. And then we have our last 2 little panda bears, but I don't know if you can see, I've actually added Wink of Stella to the tummy and the face on the panda bears on these. And so what I did is I left this one blank, and I'm going to show you what I did. I just added it to the inside of the balloon. It's enough to add some shimmer and some interest to the card without adding too much, because there's already quite a bit going on. And I just love that it adds a little touch of the sparkle and staying in the white. And I did use Memento ink, so we are safe from bleeding. That's it for the Wink of Stella. So our little panda bears that are here, I'm going to take one of the dimensionals and I'm going to put it on the back of this little panda bear. And I'm going to stand up my card. And it looks different when it's folded flat than standing up, but I'm going to add him just about here, because when it stands up, it looks about here. So even though when you close it, he's down a little lower, when it's open, it almost looks like he's a little bit higher up. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other panda bear, and we're going to put him a little bit higher, add a little popped up dimensional to his tummy, and then if you sit here, and we want him to be at a little bit of an angle, and he can be up higher. And just like that. So this is the finished card. Super cute. It is the Party Pandas from the Sale A Bration 2018 set, little birthday card. All the dimensionals, or I'm sorry, all the dimensions and instructions will be on my blog. And that's it. Remember to make your envelope pretty, and happy creating.